In this video, I want to share with you what my key lessons have been going from where I was with depression and drug addiction and anorexia and bulimia through to where I get to be today. And I want to take the lessons that I learnt along that way, the on the court, like really blood, sweat and tears lessons of over a decade and a half of freaking showing up for myself, and I want to boil them down and condense them into what are the things that I wish I had known. Kind of like the manual that if I had gone back, Jesus would have made a difference. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I put out new videos every single week that remind us of the power that we already have and call us each to really step into that and actually own it. So if you're new, get subscribed. I remember over a decade and a half ago just feeling like I had totally screwed up my life. And it was around that time that everything felt like it was something that was happening to me rather than for me. And I think that's the number one place I want to start, is that don't ever give up. If you're going through something right now and you feel like stretched up against your edges like a mofo and you just like can't see why this is happening, try and find that part of you that has a perspective that this is happening for you, not to you, and be willing to actually show up for yourself. So you just don't know how close you are to that breakthrough. I'm thinking back in the gold rush times where they were mining gold and the gold was flying through and the money was flying, and then all of a sudden they hit the end of that gold vein and the gold mining stopped. And they dug 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 and they couldn't find any more gold. And they dug and they dug and they dug and they dug and they couldn't find any more gold. What they ended up doing was thinking that there's no gold, we've dug all of it out, there's just no gold left. So the mining equipment, they kind of sold like at garage sale prices, and some smart guy came and scooped up all this gold mining equipment for next to nothing. And he started mining. And he started looking for the gold himself. And you know what? So literally 3 feet from where they stopped digging, 3 feet beyond that point was where the gold restarted. So easy to think that we are failing at something, or that things are coming to an end for us where we just don't know that we are just 3 feet away from the gold. Like literally just before dawn, it can be the darkest part of the night. So don't ever give up. And inside of that, it's actually the small little steps that truly matter. Whether it is something that you're coming out of something that's been really, really, really painful for you, or whether it's that you're birthing like some amazing big dream that you want, either one. It's only the small tiny steps that ever get us there. We think that there's this kind of map, like show me the way, damn it, give me the strategy, give me the steps. There is no map. That's the thing. It's only like what here, sitting here right now, what is my next best step? And usually they're things that are so small, like making a phone call and sending an email and having a conversation and making some commitment to something, to the next step. And it's those tiny things, the emails that you send, or the phone calls that you have, or the conversations that you commit to, and these tiny actions built up that actually create the big shifts. And I want to say this, that sometimes we're saying that we want to get here, and that's cool. Like, keep a vision for where it is that you're heading to, but don't project yourself and who you are out there, thinking that you have to get out there to be more, better, different, more powerful. The thing is, and this has been one of my biggest lessons, is that we already are powerful, like now, as we are now. So our power isn't something that we have to acquire. Our power isn't located out there in the future that we have to grow and be more, better, different to finally get. No, it's quite the opposite. It's like our power is actually something that we already have now. It's already within each of us right now. The job isn't to go and acquire it. The job is to actually uncover it. The job is to finally actually see it and to recognize it, that it's already in there. Sometimes I see so often is that people are looking to other people who inspire them, which is fabulous to be inspired. But what they're doing in that inspiration is that they're projecting out their power and they're going, I must be like that to be amazing. Whereas when we see someone out there that inspires us, what it's doing is it's activating the inspiration that's already within us. So see the inspiration, get the power and the inspiration activated in here, but then allow what's in there that's getting activated to further blossom and actually like really come into itself within you. So that part is you already are powerful. The thing is to just recognize that that's already there within you. Which leads me to my next point, which is this. Your awesomeness, it requires you to be you and not someone else. So often we're looking to that person and we're going, oh, I want to be like that, or I have to change myself in order to be something more. And you know what? When you're trying to be like someone else, you are dialing down that magic that you brought through in this lifetime, and frankly, my love, you're ripping the world off from the magic that only you have inside of you. So your awesomeness requires you to be you and not someone else. We get to set the standards in our life. It's us who gets to raise the bar on what it is that we will have and not have. Whether it's with the people in our life and saying, actually, this is the bar of what I'm going to have in my life, the kind of relationships that I'm going to have, the kind of way in which I treat other people, the kind of way in which I allow myself to be treated. It's actually us, each of us, that has to choose that for ourselves. And where am I going to set the bar? Where am I going to raise the standard to? And here's the thing, when we show up to whatever level we show up to, the thing is our external world is going to show up to match us at that level, whether it's in relationship, whether it's how people relate to us. If I'm going to show up and set the bar at the standard, you're damn sure people are going to show up and like recalibrate at that level, or they're going to move away from our lives. So we set the standard. Whether it's in relation to our finances, whether it's in relation to any single area of our life, we got to set the standard and show up at that level first, and then whatever it is out there is going to show up to match. See, I see people doing the opposite. It's like, okay, so I'm going to look out into my world, and then based on what I see out there will give what I get to play within. And how we're seeing that, then we restrict ourselves and place ourselves and our capacity in this limited box of what's available to us because we're relating and responding to the outside world. And then it gets into a vicious cycle because then less shows up, and then we limit our box further, and then because we're limiting our box further and we're showing up at that level, less is showing up. So to shift that, we got to be the ones that are willing to go first. You got to go first and everything will follow. This next one has been harder for me to learn, and it's this. We don't always have to be happy. And that can sound so contradictory to everything that we're hearing out there. You ask someone, what do you want? And they say, I just want to be happy. You look at personal development and it's, what are the 5 steps to being happy? And I think we're missing the point when we're coming from that perspective. As a human being and a full spectrum human being, you know what? I have felt more happiness and joy, like genuine happiness and joy, when I also make space for being who I am and where I'm at. What that can mean sometimes is being oh freaking K if I feel sad. So sad, yup. Lonely, cool. Angry, yep, showing me something. whatever it is, frustration, there's just this whole human being thing going on that if we're trying to reject it and just saying, I'm going to throw away all of this, any potential for sadness, loneliness, I don't want to feel it, don't want to feel it, don't want to feel it, don't want to be it, no, because I just want happy, we're literally cutting off so much of ourselves and we're pushing it away and we're on shaky ground in this kind of like fake journey of trying to get something that just doesn't exist. Pema Chodron said that our neurosis and our wisdom are made of the same stuff, and when we throw out our neurosis, we also throw out our wisdom. And I love that, because I don't know about you, but I have spent so much of my life trying to cherry pick the parts of me that I'm fundamentally okay with, and then getting those other parts and like chucking them into a garbage bag and putting them over my shoulder and throwing them out. And it's taken me so long to realize that those parts of me are part of that beautiful wisdom. They're part of that innate humanness that when I throw those away, I'm missing out on so much of the juice and I'm missing out on the point. I want you to consider right now is, what are the things within yourself that you've been avoiding, that you've been labeling as bad or wrong and trying to get rid of? It takes courage to actually go, you know what, that too I'm gonna own, but I invite you to have it because it makes a difference. It's so boring when we are busily trying to bleach our personality and bleach out the parts of us, because then we all end up with this whitewashed thing that is no representation of the truth. And on that note, I want to say this: have the courage to carve your own goddamn path. Like really, it's so easy to want to exist from this box or these laid out paths that have been set before us, whether it's from society or whether it's from our parents, but actually we don't owe anyone anything. Not even our parents, with all due respect. Really have the courage to carve your own path in any area of your life, whether it's how you parent, whether it's how you show up with your sexuality, whether it's what you do for a career, whether it's how you express yourself. Be willing to carve your own path and take the creative risks that you're called for. Let's talk about risk. In my own life, developing the capacity to be okay with risk. Developing that internal capacity to be okay with uncertainty. See, here's the thing, when we are so hell-bent on just having certainty in our lives, what we're doing, perfect example right there, what we're doing is we're holding and clutching so tightly onto what we've known. But if we want to go for something new, whether it's in our relationships or whether it's within our career or how we're doing ourselves in the world, that we have to be willing to release the stranglehold on what we've known to be able to have the freedom to go for that next thing. This was so true for me and so relevant for me back years ago when it was moving through drugs and depression and bulimia and anorexia. I had to be willing to risk letting go of the me I knew myself to be back then. See, it was a comfort zone in the addiction. It was a comfort zone within the eating disorder, and that might all sound super crazy to anyone who hasn't been through that, but it was what I knew, it was all I knew. And it took risk and it took uncertainty to let go of that in order to step into how could Kate be in the world without that. Just as relevant to in the last couple of years in terms of going from a one-woman solo team to actually taking on a team where I've got 10 full-time employees now. To actually do that, it took letting go of everything I knew at that level and stepping out into the total unknown and stepping out into uncertainty. So developing our capacity for risk, developing our capacity for uncertainty is so key, and being able to really shift your life into those areas that you're calling in and you're frankly craving. Regardless of what's coming up, this one I'm about to say sounds so easy to say now, sitting in my chair drinking tea, and if we can have a part of us that can remind us of this in the moments that it counts, it makes all the difference. That things that you're going through, they are happening for you and not to you. And I know that can sound super cliched, but in the moment, when something's coming up that you're resisting the shit out of, instead of thinking that this is something that life is just doing it to me and you're this passive victim where life is kind of like doing it to you, there's such a different feeling and perspective when you're willing to actually see that life in all of its flavors and in all of its unique texture of what's showing up, it is happening for you, it's conspiring for you. And then inside of that, you've got to be the one willing to actually show up for yourself, because life will show up and the lessons will come through at the level to which you're willing to be a stand for them. In a nutshell, over 10.5 years, I want to hear from you. What are the lessons that you've learnt that are like your favorite lessons? Or from listening to that, what are your favorite ones that you've heard from this that you want to remember for yourself? Pop it in the comments below. It might just be something that you say that will make all the difference to someone else who's reading the comments. And if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. I put out new videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in that next video.